Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for the road to my, I believe it's 836th Platinum Trophy. Today's game is South Park Snow Day. I can actually confirm and make sure it's number 836 real quick. Yep, it is. Okay, so today's game, like I said, is South Park Snow Day. This is the third South Park game to have a trophy list. Unlike the first, well, actually no, I mean that's not actually true, but South Park The Stick of Truth had two versions, whereas Fractured But Whole was only PS4 version. So this is the first one to be on the PS5. It only has a PS5 version, no PS4 version to worry about, thankfully, because this game is really bad. I was not a fan of this one in the slightest, personally. I mean, it was okay maybe for the first hour or so of just sort of messing around and seeing some of the South Park stuff, and I mean, the plot makes sense by South Park standards and all, but this game is just really not fun. Maybe it's better if you play it in co-op, I don't know, but if you're playing it solo, it's really boring, very repetitive, and it just doesn't... It's not even all that complicated for what type of game it is, because there's only like 3 different weapons for ranged and 3 different weapons for melee, and then the cards... The cards are a big issue with this game because it's very RNG-driven at times, and if you have very bad luck the way I did at times, it can make some of the levels and some of the individual trophies quite a bit harder. Now, I don't know if maybe the game is easier if you play it in co-op. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a little bit easier. But I also just consistently got pretty bad RNG a lot of the time, so that was just unfortunate on my part. It's not surprising, though, because that's how games usually are for me. But anyway, man, that one does not want to go down. Alright, so it's giving me the ally tutorial, finally. So, the last trophy I have to get is to defeat 10 vampire kids. And the guide and other people on the forums have suggested a very specific method for that. But I could not get that other method to work. It's like doing one of the specific combat arenas. But I played through one of the combat arenas entirely, like through like 8 or 9 rounds, whatever it was, and didn't get a single vampire spawn. So I don't know if I just, again, had really bad luck, or if things have changed or something, who knows. But right there is our Platinum Trophy for defeating the 10 vampire kids. Like I said, was the last one we had to do. So, thankfully, this game is done, and I never have to play it again. Like I said, not a fun time, so... The Platinum Trophy, I would say, if you're playing it solo, for me, was more like a 4 out of 10, just because of some of the RNG with both the levels and with the cards, just having very, very bad luck. So, this trophy right here, this one, you have to have the Invisibility BS card, as they're actually called. You have to have that card and then use it to defeat a human boss. I would suggest doing this with Stan, because it's probably the easiest one to do this with. Just hope that your allies don't do the final blow, because that can happen. It didn't happen to me, thankfully, but it can. Dance while reviving an ally, you just have to use an emote while reviving an ally. Pretty straightforward, one of the first trophies I got. And this Platinum Trophy can be done in about 8 hours. It's very quick. It's just, again, very luck-based. So, 10 vampire kids, again, the best way I found to grind it, since I only had 7 by the time I'd finished all the other trophies, was to replay the tutorial. Other people, of course, suggested playing the specific combat arena. It's called, like, Twofold or something. But I just could not get that one to work. It just would not spawn any vampires for me, so I did it this way instead. Then defeat Stan within 25 minutes of starting your run. This is one of the slightly tougher trophies in the game. It requires you to finish Chapter 3 within 25 minutes, because you're going to get 2 out of 3 potential objectives you have to do, and certain ones are easier than others. Like the Ned and Jimbo one, I would say, is probably the fastest one, because you can kind of just pick up the items and carry them back and just try to avoid being attacked. And then you also have to defeat Stan quickly, which wasn't as hard on subsequent playthroughs, because you'll have better equipment and better cards and stuff on your later playthroughs. But the very first time you go through this level, he's probably one of the harder bosses in the game. So then this is Chapter 4, you just have to get into the Cartman fight, and he's going to spawn a bunch of little snowman decoys. Basically, just let your allies deal with everything. It's totally fine if they destroy the stationary decoys, that's totally fine. This one is pretty much unmissable. It's done during the final battle in Chapter 5. You're going to get attacked by so many of these little things, you're probably going to kill well over 100. This one you can easily farm on that twofold combat arena if you don't get it naturally, because there aren't a ton of opportunities to do it normally. Then this one, you can just do this throughout the course of the game. Just fart on assassins whenever you see them. They're the ones that have like the certain masks on or something. This one is... Oh wait, no, this wasn't the bad one. This one was actually pretty easy. When you get to, it's either chapter 3 or 4. I believe it's chapter 4 is when you start running into Necros. So just use the cheesing ability on a Necro while one of your allies is down or yourself is down, and they should go revive them. It's actually fairly easy. This one can be done across the entire course of the game, so it should come naturally because it's one of the better abilities. This one is... I'm not actually sure what this one is. I think it's just pushing the right button on the D-pad because that's the fart button. This one's really, really annoying because it's very situational. You have to get to the end of a boss, or you have to get to a boss fight, and you have to go down and then fart on them. I did this against Stan. There might be a better place to do it, but definitely don't do it against Kyle in Chapter 1 because of how much he jumps around. So this one would probably be easier if you were playing in co-op because then your allies wouldn't run over and immediately try to revive you or anything. Then this is a story trophy for beating the first chapter. This is during the 4th chapter. This is during the 3rd chapter. This is during the 3rd chapter. This is... Which one was this? Was this the... This was, I think, the 2nd chapter, probably. This was the 4th chapter, and this was the 5th chapter, because it's only 5 chapters plus a tutorial. So these two trophies sort of tie in together. The rule books are Nicole's Infernal Pacts, and they're basically modifiers that make the game harder. And to get these two trophies, the first one you just have to finish a match or any chapter of the game with one extra ability. For this one, you have to activate all the ones in a single run, of which there's usually 3, so you have to find Nicole throughout it, and then activate all 3 and then still beat it. It's not overly difficult because you can play the entire game on the easiest difficulty, which is good, but again, there's a little bit of RNG involved with objectives and what enemies you get with the Infernal Pacts and everything, so sometimes the game just can be rude. This one I could not do in the later chapters like some of the guides showed. You really have to do this one in like the first chapter of the game when it's more powerful. If you do it then though, it's fairly easy just using the fart escape ability. So then this one, those are those totem guys. You basically just have to destroy it with bleeding damage, which you can inflict from a lot of your weapons. Increasing rarity is pretty straightforward. You're going to get this throughout the game, most likely. You can upgrade them every time you talk to Jimmy. Shouldn't be much of a problem. The legendary upgrade, this one is going to pretty much come naturally, probably pretty early on in the game, just by upgrading some cards. This one took me a while to get. I would recommend replaying the first chapter of the game. And when you're there, I would recommend just spending a lot of time scavenging everything so you can get enough toilet paper. And then you have to wait until you get to Jimmy when he gives you either a rare or legendary card in his selection. Again, it's RNG based. If you get a rare, you're going to have to upgrade it twice. A legendary, you're only going to have to upgrade once, but it costs quite a bit of toilet paper to do that, so you just need to have a lot saved up. You might also be able to do it in the combat arenas, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay, this one is extremely annoying because it's extremely buggy. With this one, you have to not only have the cheesing ability equipped, but you have to find a Necro in the level after getting the cheesy Zombies power-up, which is a specific card upgrade you can get from Jimmy, but it's completely random as to whether or not you get it. And then even if you get it, you then have to find a Necro and keep using this ability on them, and hope that the trophy unlocks. It's extremely buggy, that's why it's so rare. It doesn't always work. It took me several full playthroughs or partial playthroughs of that chapter to make it work. So, like I said, just very frustrating when things don't work correctly. This one's pretty easy. Just throw the Event Horizon ability. It's like the ball ability, and then just hit it with your own projectile. It's pretty straightforward. This one's pretty easy. Just jump into the air and then hold square to hit the enemies from the air and dive down on them. It's pretty easy. This one you can do with either the Fire Staff potentially, but it's much easier to do with the Laser Eyes BS power. It's very easy to do with that on like an early level of the game. And then finally, you need to have the Moon Jump as your BS ability and stay in the air for at least a second before dropping down and hitting them. This one's a little bit annoying just because the power-up isn't the most accurate when you dive down on them. So overall, was not a fan of this game compared to the first two South Park games. Hopefully they never try something like this again. But, I mean, it's not an overly difficult platinum. It's not a very time-consuming one. Like I said, about 8 hours probably to complete. I'm sure it would have been easier if I had played it in co-op or maybe a little bit more fun, but I was just not a fan. So, yeah. Alright, level 879, 47%, 29,074 total trophies, 836 platinums, 5,585 golds, 7,803 silvers, 14,850 bronzes. I guess I can say the one positive thing about this game was I got my 29,000th trophy in it a few weeks before this is being recorded. So I guess that was something. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell if you haven't done so already. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me on this being probably the worst of the South Park games, at least in the modern day, and kind of annoying with trophies. And I will see y'all back here real soon for the next trophy video.